Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing another frame review, and now this is the Beast X, and this was designed by a guy named Sharon. And this frame originally, I found this from NJ Tech. If you haven't seen his channel, link below. He does really nice videos. I saw it on there. I left a comment saying I like the design of frame, and he hit me up, and then Sharon contacted me, and basically now here it is. So it's a pretty cool frame. It is a Pure X 4mm separate arm design made for more of a racing style. So let's get into the box here. You can see a very, very tiny box. I was very impressed with how small it is because that keeps shipping down. And just an FYI, it does ship from Israel. At least that's where mine came on. That's where mine came from as far as I know, because this shop is located from Israel, multirotor4fly.com. You can see everything is just separately vacuum, well, not vacuum packed, but in this little bag here. So we've got our arms and all our associated hardware, and also came in this little box with the external box with this little Cobra motors, and I got kind of excited that I got a motor here, but you can see if I open up, it's just some screws and a separate pod here, which I will discuss in a little bit. So I didn't get a Cobra motor. Okay, in this end, this part has a zip. We get all of our hardware for the frame here. It looks like some steel bolts as well as a black XT60. That's pretty nice for the connection on your quad. You get a little sticky foam pad here, as well as a RCAddict branded battery strap, which is very, very rubberized. Hopefully you can see it. It's got a super rubber finish, which is really sticky, so that should hold your battery very well. Nice little touch. This plate here is probably for underneath your battery as a little protector. It looks like 1.5 mil carbon. Here are our arms. Let me just go over these quick. They are 4mm thick carbon. And this frame, if you look at the price, it's around $90. So it is definitely a premium frame, but some of the reasons for that price being a little higher than other frames, I think, is it's a smaller designer and it's a smaller website, as well as it's premium. You know, it's got really good aluminum. It's got 70-75 aircraft aluminum, and I believe it's military grade carbon. I mean, this stuff, just like NJ Tech in his review said, I just tried to bend that, and yep, I definitely agree with you, Neil. That's definitely the stiffest carbon I've ever felt, so that's really nice. On the tooling, if you look at the cuts up here, I don't see any burrs or any imperfections. Let's see, there's not really any much carbon dust coming off onto my fingers. And if you look at the end here, the end slots are milled out down to 2mm thick, because when they go together in the middle of the frame, that creates a little gap in between the plate to run your battery strap through. And I originally thought when I first saw this that'd be bad, because that's making it a lot weaker, obviously, but it mounts here and here before it even thins down, so you still have the full 4mm thickness strength there, so that's great. Okay, and this part is definitely one of the stars of the show here. You can see it's a little carbon piece attached to this aluminum side cage bracket that looks a little bit something like a D-Quad Obsession or the Diatone Crusader. I know probably some of you are going to reference those frames in your comments, but this is, once again, 70-75 aircraft grade aluminum. And once again, just like the arms, the machining quality on it, it's very nice. I don't see any burring, any mislines. Everything's perfect there. That's really nice. Okay, this is a little VTX mounting bracket plate. It just screws in, which side? I think it's back here. It screws across at an angle, and then you can mount your bulkhead onto that out the back of your antenna, which is really nice. That's what I'll be using. And then we have our little top plate, which is, I believe, 2mm, might be 2.5. It's an interesting thickness there, but that should be pretty strong, especially since it's so tiny. I really don't think you're going to break this. And then it's branded with Beast X on there. Okay, and then lastly, we have a bottom plate here, which is 2mm, and then a 1.5mm bracket that are going to sandwich the arms in between, like that, basically, similar to that. There's also a little PDB included. This is a Maytech, it says V1.0, I'm not sure the model. Oh, there it might be on the back. So it says it's 2 to 5S LiPo, 4x20 amp ESCs. It's got a 2 amp 5 volt back and a 2 amp 12 volt back. 2 amps copper, 4-layer board. So it looks like your batteries are here and you wire ESCs, and it's got your regulators for 12 and 5 volts. However, it does not have video pass-through, and it does not have a 30.5 by 30.5 standard mounting. like these holes right here for, say, a flight controller to mount on in a stack. So it would have to be something that you stick on, which this isn't double-sided, so that might not be it. That might be for your battery there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use this. I'm not such a fan that I can't mount it in the stack, but I'll see later on once I get into build if I can incorporate that or not. So now we have everything out. Let me talk once more quick about this little pod here. And now some of the earlier versions, when Neil got his, it did not include this pod, but I think he said he was getting it later. I can't remember specifically. And this is 3D printed. This is in a PLA carbon fiber mix. And I recently got into 3D printing a couple months ago, and I've been working on my printer. I got the ANET A8 from GearBest for like $150. And it's super cheap, but I've been making it work. And just the complexity of this part, and having to, I can tell from the lines in it, it was printed like this with just these 4 points down. And especially with a carbon fiber mix, it's very difficult to work with. I think I can definitely appreciate the design and the quality of the printer they're using, as well as if I take a look at the layers. You probably won't be able to see it, but even the layers up top here are very, very thin and well defined. You can't really see it on camera, but very low layer height, and I definitely appreciate this pod. It's something that separates it. I'm not sure how strong it'll be because it is 3D printed PLA, but it is the carbon fiber mix, so I've never tested durability on something like this. And it basically would just come out the front like this and protect your camera, as well as it looks super cool. And they glued a little bit of a little metal grating up here just to make it look even cooler up top. So yeah, let's get into the build starting on this frame, and we'll go from there. Alright, so to start building up the main body, we're going to need these two base plates, an arm, and first we're going to need one of the medium screws. It has long, short, and medium screws included. You take one of the medium ones. This is the bottom plate. These sort of square sides versus these rounded sides. The square ones go to the side. So I'm going to take this, put it in the outer hole. I'm going to put the arm on through there like that. And then this piece here where this cut out and then this part sticking out, this is the front. So I'm going to have that go right there like that. And then you take one of these little locking washers and screw that on. And it definitely helps to have a hex driver tool like this rather than pliers. Okay, that's in like there, and then you're going to take one of the long bolts, and that just goes through the bottom plate, all the way up through. Then you put one of the nuts down, and it tightens all the way down. That'll hold the arms in place, and they're all four identical. Then those milled out parts will leave a slot for the battery strap in there, but I'm not that happy about having a steel bolt go all the way up through into the flight controller, because it's going to transfer extra vibrations versus plastic standoffs like nylon that I usually use. So I might have to look into some further soft mounting, but I'll probably end up soft mounting the motors and flight controller anyways, because that's what everyone's doing these days, so I don't think it will be an issue. That's all assembled right there. You can see I have all the nuts on. And just real quick, one advantage of doing it this way, you are going to save a little bit of weight combining the holes. However, if you do break an arm, you'll have to take the whole thing apart, because you'll have to take your stack apart to release this bolt to swap the arm. And there was no extra bolts, so it's a little disappointing there's no extras, but it doesn't really matter that much. And for the replacement issue, this is 4mm carbon, super high quality, and really short arms, so I honestly don't think there's going to be a problem. I've never broken a single arm, but just something to consider. So next, we should start moving on to the these little side plates here. And this little carbon piece that's already screwed on goes on the outside. So they just basically screw in like that. And then this top piece goes on. It's super, probably have it backwards, but oh no, it's right. It's super, super simple to do that. And then these just, I think, this will, yeah, okay, so this has to take the, I think, take these screws out, put this on, and then tighten it back up together like that. And then these are just screws from the bottom there, screws underneath the frame. I don't need to show that. It's super simple. Alright, all complete with the little frame build here. Once again, just super simple. The box that the mount came in here had those little 4 extra screws. And that's because these carbon fiber plates along the aluminum here the roll cage bracket comes with these little short screws, but if you're adding the extra thickness of this pod to it, because that goes on the outside, it comes with a little bit 2mm extra longer screws, which is nice. Yeah, that just goes together, 4 screws on top and then the 4 screws underneath for that, and it's all held in place pretty simple. So it should be just 4 screws to remove this whole top section, and I just gotta say, that looks pretty slick there. Looks definitely like a racing frame, racing quad. Similar once again to the D-Quad Obsession or the Diatone Crusader, but this pod definitely does separate it, I'd say. And with the bolting, and it wraps straight around the carbon underneath and the aluminum, it should have pretty good structural integrity. It's got a lot of material up here, as well as some extra airflow for your components inside, and these are your mounting holes for your camera. So let's get some weights. Okay, so the frame all up right here as I have it built. But yeah, once again, just the VTX mounting plate I screwed on there, and these 2 little holes are for a TBS style where you can actually screw it in, or you can just use a little washer and bulkhead. So the frame itself, right there, is 105.2 grams. So it's not the lightest, so it's definitely not a hardcore racing frame, I'd say, with all the steel bolts in it, as well as this little pod is going to add some weight, plus the 4mm carbon. I don't really think it's meant to be a hardcore racing frame. I think it's more of a general purpose frame, because this is definitely going to be super strong, but it definitely certainly can go fast. I just don't think it's the ultra lightweight clasp, so I'm definitely not that perturbed by that weight. And if we just weigh it with the battery strap, this PDB, and the battery plate, just because we can do that, just to get an extra look, it's going to be 118 grams with all those extras, but really it's 100 gram, because when Neil weighed his is under 100 grams, depending on how you configure it with all your nuts and bolts. But that also includes the TX mount and the HD camera mount, because you can just sit like a GoPro Session up there, so it's eliminating the extra weight that you need for that. And I believe this top plate is angled at 15 degrees, and he has a little exoskeleton for your GoPro Session that you can print out a TPU that adds an extra 30, I believe, so it gets to, or no, an extra 25, because he said it adds up to 40. And then for your camera tilt, you can probably go, I don't know, 25 to 60 on your camera, so it's pretty good there. So let's get a couple measurements, just because, to make sure it's a true X. It is about 142 centimeters by 142. So yep, definitely a pure X. Once again, 4mm arms. And you can see through there now, that's where the battery strap will go, in between that little slot there. So yeah, let's just do a quick recap. So 4mm detachable arms. It's got a nice carbon fiber 3D printed pod up here, but they are working on a fiberglass, I believe, injection molded, sort of like a helicopter canopy for this coming soon. And the files for this I will leave down below, a link to Thingiverse. He has made these all public, so you can print them if you want, as well as the GoPro Session attachment for there. I'm not sure if it screws on or not, but it is, once again, a bottom mounted true X frame, so it's definitely not a stretch X or a squash X. I prefer squash X top-mounted battery for freestyle, and then because it gives you a little bit more planted feel, and I know a lot of people prefer bottom-mounted stretch X for racing, because it gives you less pitch authority, which helps you maintain your altitude better, which is very important at such high speeds, because any change can make a big difference. So it's not really a discussion about which one flies better, it's which one flies better for you, because everyone has their preferences and they just fly different, not necessarily better. I definitely like the aluminum roll cage. I think that's going to be super strong there, as well as the bracket. It's going to be a very tight build in there, so I'm not sure if I'd recommend this for first-time builders. As well, if you're just looking for a cheap all-purpose frame, I don't think this one's for you. It's definitely more premium and more of a good-looking and high-performance build, and yeah, basically just more premium. So if you're looking for something dirt cheap, just go to Banggood. This isn't for you, but I definitely like this frame, and I will be building this up, doing a full series on it. I do not, at the time, have the parts selected or purchased yet. I will be probably picking them soon. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, so I'll leave a link down below to this frame from Multirotor for Fly, from RE200, the designer there. link down to my Patreon if you wish to help support the channel if you enjoy these type of videos, as well as to NJ Tech's video on this if you like to give it another look to see how he covered it. And yeah, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.